So it's really important that you understand your place in life. But to do that, you need to understand and accurately represent your place in the universe as part of that. Now, to give a better idea of this, we happen to be on the planet Earth. If you're watching this on another planet, I'm sorry, that's outside my scope at the moment, so this won't be accurate entirely. But if you're in another solar system or you're receiving this as a transmission, please understand that I'm actively just talking about my own civilization in this moment. And by the time you've gotten this, it's probably been many, many, many rotations around our sun. So, with that in mind, the fact is that we are, as a as a species and as a planet, Earth has a lot on it. But the species that I really worry about is humans because we are at the top of the food chain and we're the ones doing the most damage. Um, that is one astronomical unit away from the sun, which is a fancy way of saying that we are kind of selfish as humans. We measure everything else in the universe based on our own distance from our own sun. And so the Earth and its distance from the sun at any given point, uh, well, there we are. So with that in mind, there's a lot of other fun stuff going on here. Here's our Goldilocks zone or the safe habitable zone. Uh, Simply put, there's a minimal space between the sun and the rest of the universe that is actually habitable because it's just warm enough to keep the Earth and everything on it from freezing. But it's not so close that the heat becomes a problem or the radiation becomes a problem. The end result of that is that if you go back out through the different comets and everything else, you find yourself in our solar system still, but ultimately you're dealing with other planets that are just frozen bulbs of ice or frozen bulbs of methane in some of these cases. And so the end result is that we live in a very weird place because we're constantly living on the edge. To quote a music, cute quote a song. And so if you scale out a bit and you do a logarithmic scale of the universe, you find that we get to a point where we get to the Kepler belt and everything else, and that's pretty much it for us. Everything else is long period comets, detached objects that we don't really consider to be rotational entities or part of our solar system. In fact, Pluto kind of lost that debate. It became a cometoid and not a planet a while back. Uh, Although if you're Team Pluto, please say so in the comments. And at that point, we're just kind of lost in space. You got the Oort cloud, and then you've got some of the things that we've seen in telescopes, and we only know about them because of the light that's reached us. And unfortunately, because of that, those places may not even exist anymore. And then you go back out, and then we've got the Milky Way center, which is just our universe, just our little area, because we're part of a spiral arm, right? And you keep going out, and eventually you just get into the radioactive background noise. Really, that's what it comes down to. We are, in many cases, just let's see. Oh, that is a good one, but it's not a very big one. And so the issue here is that I'm very aware of how absolutely worthless I am as a human. Silly humans, we think we know everything. We don't. We really don't. And we are just animated stardust. Because when you start looking at the science and you start getting into stuff around this, the stuff that gives us the basis for all these things, the ooh, that is a much better one. The fact is, as the ground level, this is us, but there's so much more out there. Okay, and all of this, whether it's Sun, Uranus, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, all this other stuff, different nebula, Milky Way galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy, all these different things, they're all made of stardust. Okay. At the end of the day, it's just helium and hydrogen and everything else that has been in the crucible of stars. That's it. It all started out with hydrogen, and everything else just got smashed together until we got everything else. And so, but to do that, you have to understand that from scientific perspective that we've been able to validate so far as a species, every single star out there that that we have seen, either the light of or been touched by in terms of the light or the heat of, in case our own sun, those are not first generation stars. It's not like this is the first star out there to exist. Okay. Even our own star is an unknown generation. Okay. It was formed by a bunch of other stars going supernova, spewing their guts around the universe, and then through a very long time, condensing, and then gravity doing its magic to kickstart the furnace and start going again with all the fuel that it's collected. And so our sun is actually the product of multiple other prior supernovas, multiple other prior solar systems that actively destroyed planets. They might have destroyed civilizations. They might have destroyed the hopes and dreams of many an entity. We don't know because we have no record of that because nothing survives a supernova blast. And we weren't around to record it. That's just it. Okay. This is why Elon Musk is doing his thing right now. He wants us to get off of our planet so that if the star goes nova and explodes, we can get out of range somehow. That's his big thing. And I approve of that, by the way. That is a goal that I think humanity should definitely aspire to. But how he does things is a different video. And so what you have to understand is that we are just specks of dust in the cosmos being lit by other specks of dust in the cosmos that have exploded, condensed, exploded, condensed. And what that's done is it's created more complicated stardust. That's all it really has done. First generation stars, they were just a bunch of hydrogen. They build out the heavier elements like helium and whatnot. And then over time, a long time, they burn down, they spew their guts around, and then it condenses again. And the second generation stars gobble that up. And they get heavier and heavier and heavier as the heavier and heavier elements happen. And in this case, I believe if I remember the math correctly, and don't quote me on this because I might be wrong. I believe it's statistically, if I remember the math correctly, statistically it goes to gold and iron is kind of the common medium for these. And the end result is that we, as humans with red blood cells, because of the iron in our veins, are something that could not have evolved unless first stars exploded multiple times, condensed, exploded, condensed, exploded. So many times, so many years. And so we are nothing but stardust. And I know that because I know the science. And I always get confused when people tell me that they're religious or that their religion says you shouldn't be curious. Because if you really believe in your God and you really love your God, wouldn't you want to understand the universe that you feel they created? Wouldn't you want to explore these things? Wouldn't you want to understand the sun, the moon, the stars, all the common things between them? Because you're a part of that. You're made of the same dust. And that's just science. I'm not going to get religious here because I don't think it's relevant. But the the big thing here is that you have to understand we are just stardust talking to ourselves. And we are trapped in this small, tiny corner of the universe. And most of the things that we do every day is mostly just harm ourselves. And that sucks. We should be out exploring all of this, not trapped here, not trapped on Earth, with our closed minded ideals and our lack of desire to collaborate with each other. So, yeah, I know how worthless I am. And it's not just because I was a POS software development engineer for a while, because working point of sale is not as glamorous as you might think. But the fact is, there's so much out there, and we are so small. But you wouldn't know it from reading some of the posts on LinkedIn.